Your final project involves some urban planning study, and before we do the actual urban design, we're going to analyze mosaics very close to us off of Lee Highway and Gallows Road. In order to study it, we're going to go to Mosaics District through Google Map, cut and insert the image with the scale. Once you insert the image into the PowerPoint, you can scale it and you actually enlarge it and you create a massing model of this area. The purpose of this massing model is to get ready for where you're going to actually design the area that you're going to design, as well as study what is happening in mosaics. Let's take a look at mosaics right now. All right, so I'm going to go to my Revit. I already saved the image and I inserted the image. I'm ready to enlarge it. Before I enlarge it, I want to put a model line around my elevation so I don't lose it. That way, if I ever need to place my elevation in a specific location, I can actually do it. So I'm going to pick my image. I'm going to zoom very close and I'm going to enlarge it. Essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enlarge it. I'm going to bring this up a little bit by clicking here. Come on over down here. From here to here needs to be 200 feet. It's now 7 feet. So I bear to the right, type in 200 feet, and I click enter. I zoom back. Hopefully, it doesn't cross over the area that I have. Anytime I need my elevations, I actually place it. So once I have that, I start sketching right on top of it. I actually create a massing. That's essentially what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to show you how, as you're doing, to use fillet. So when you pick this line, you go detail line, and you want to use this command, fillet arc. You click it, choose one line, the other line. You can either identify the actual amount or just say, that's what I like. Pick the first line, pick the second line. If it doesn't show it, it's because the line is way too long. You can reduce the long, so as long as it's smaller, it will let you do it. So you pick the line, you annotate it, you detail, and you want to actually fillet the line. Pick the first line, pick the second line. Here it is. It allows you to fillet it. You can then offset it for your streets as well. So if I actually have a street line that goes that way, and I would like to fillet it right here, first I'm just going to pick this line, and I'm going to split it so I can actually work with it. Then you pick the line, reduce it, because otherwise it won't let you fillet it. So you go annotate, detail line, fillet, and you pick this one and that one, and you go this way. Essentially, you're going to continue this process so that you have finished the map. All right, so you sketch over it, and then you create massing. So I just want to show you. So I created a massing right over, and you can actually see that I actually gave it some color coordination, so you can see and distinguish the parking garage versus the commercial buildings. Now I'm going to compose the residential sitting right on top of it. So essentially you create a series of spaces, volumes with negative spaces. Let's take a look. So here you've got a building on this side, a building on this side. Right over here you have an actual volume. That should be displayed in section 2. So between this building and that building, essentially you have this negative space, and I want you to analyze this negative space. Then I want you to look at section 1, and section 1 is right over here looking at this area between this building and that building, where you actually understand that volume and the way that the sun actually hits it. So if I looked at level 1, essentially north is up, south is down. So this is north, south. So the sun, let's say, is hitting from the east or the west. Let's say the sun is coming from the west side trying to come back here. So if I'm cutting this section from this side, it's going to hit it. So I'm going to go to this one, and I say, so the sun is going to hit it from this side. if in fact that's the case, I'm going to draw the sun line. So let's say that's the case, then this much of the building is going to be in the shade. So you want to analyze that in winter, in the afternoon, what portion of the building is going to be in the sun and what portion of it is going to be in the light. Let's backtrack. Much of these buildings, because they're somewhat north-south in this direction, the buildings either get eastern sun or the western sun. You don't have a whole lot of north where it doesn't get any. This one gets a little bit north, but it's not perfect north, so you're okay. This is closer to the perfect north, and you can see how everything is tilted slightly. Now, you will be designing this section. That's the section that you'll be designing. Let's take a look at it in 3D. So essentially, you want to analyze this portion of the mosaics. The primary life of mosaics is this area, that area. This, I think, is a failure. This is somewhat of a success. This is somewhat of a success. So what you like to do is take a look at this area, learn from its success, learn from Fairfax Corner, learn from Reston Town Center, learn from Reston, which are all of those areas are somewhat similar. They're urbanization of suburbia. And I would like you to come back over here. First of all, reinforce that Lee Highway Street, come back and design this area in such a way so you have internal space. What I like you to do is start off with your parking garage, find out where is ideal place to place the parking garage. Identify where is the ideal place to put the retail, how you want to place the retail, how would you like the retail to work, where the pretty sides are, where the ugly sides are. Remember, you have an ugly side to the street. So first, for today's class, I would like you to extrude, download. Remember how we went through the process of placing the image, quickly creating the 3D model of this site, and then we're going to actually compose this site. You were asked to study parking garages, how they are placed in such a way so that you can place the apartment buildings nearby. I gave you groups. How to study it, so you can actually analyze it in terms of how to organize it together. All right, and once you actually modulated your building in terms of apartment building, which is essentially, I'm just going to round it up, 25 to 30 feet this way, 25 to 30 feet that way, about 5 to 6 feet, actually 6 feet here. So you've got 25 plus 25, let's round it up to 50 plus 10 is 60. So roughly you've got 60 feet in this direction. In that direction, I'm going to go 150 plus 150, about 300. So you got somewhere around 60 by 300. It's a little bit less than 300. It's 260, depending on how you actually work it out. So you take this block and you insert it into your modules. You know, you can actually insert it like this. You can insert your parking garage this way and the buildings around it. You can do the apartment buildings in that format. This is not what I would highly recommend, but you could actually do your apartments here, your public spaces that way. Think about how you're going to wrap around your parking garage, even if it's an individual parking garage or just series of them mixed together. Think about how you're going to enter. If you're going to place your parking on the inside, have the apartment buildings looking on the outside, whether the retail is going to be on the interior, parking is going to be smack in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4 levels of parking garage, somewhat underground. Watch, this is retail, and then sitting on it is your parking garage. So you've got 60 feet of apartment buildings with retail, then your parking garage is in the middle. This is actually ideal. This works out really, really well if you can allow it to just go into the parking garage up or down 4 levels, and then you can run this by. This is one of the most effective ways of actually running an apartment building. Essentially, that's your configuration. Smack in the middle is your circulation. Then you have various apartment buildings. And then you can do whatever shape and effect that you would like to have. So I'm going to end this right now. The urban project has to do with modulation of parking garages, apartment buildings, and retail, and making people space.